Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, your host of the Leaders Without podcast. Tonight, today, this morning, whatever time in this beautiful planet you may be, here is evening, 9 p.m. I have an incredible guest, my good friend Wendy Corner from Australia. We connected through an incredible community called the Serving Circle. I've had so many incredible leaders with a heart and enlightened souls from that group that, as I was telling the previous guest on my show that I also connected with on from that group, is that we all need to come together, pitch in, and build a statue for Tyson because he really deserves it. However, the problem may be we don't know where we're gonna have that statue. Might have to do it at least a virtual first and then eventually a real one. So Wendy, I can say a lot about you, but just to summarize, she's an incredible human being, a super successful, but most importantly, a lady with a golden heart. The heart is the size of all of Australia, if not bigger. She has a beautiful mission, which is empowering female leaders to overcome their fears and speak their truth to millions. She's a speech specialist and language therapist. She's the founder of a great community called Courageous Influential Speakers. We're going to unpack all of that in a moment. But first, Wendy, it's an honor to have you. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Payman. I appreciate the invite.
Very welcome. Pleasure's all mine. So before we start, for people who don't know you, who's Wendy?
Ooh, which particular bit do you want to know about?
Feel free, all of them, all of the above.
Okay. I'm female. I live in Perth, Western Australia.
Mhm.
And as you can tell from the accent, I'm not a native Australian. Like yourself, Payman, I've migrated a couple of times. And I'm a Brit now living here in Perth, Western Australia. For your audience, if they don't appreciate the geography of Australia, and who would if they don't live in Australia, if you looked at the map of Australia and drew a line down the 1/3 left-hand side, you'll find the whole of Western Australia top to bottom. It's an enormous state, and we can fit the whole of Europe in our state.
Really?
Yes.
Whoa, I didn't know that. I
Gives you
knew
some
Australia was
perspective.
big, but not that big. Wow.
Yes. Well, Australia, I mean, like the States, we have,
Mhm.
I think we have 4 time zones depending on the time of year, because in the summer, 2 states stay where they are. They don't have daylight savings, but the other states change. So it's that time of the year when you go, hang on a minute, where are you? Are you 2 hours ahead, 3 hours ahead, 2.5 hours ahead? Where are we? So I get beautifully familiar with the app time zone converter.
So in Australia, you have what? 2 time zones, 3 time zones?
We have Australian Eastern Standard Time, which has Queensland, Victoria. So in terms of the places you may recognize, there's Melbourne, Victoria, Melbourne in Victoria, there's Sydney, there's Brisbane, there's Canberra, which is our capital at the ACT.
Mhm.
And there's also Tasmania, which is the island off the bottom right-hand corner.
Mhm.
So those are all in Australian Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
In the summer, all of them apart from Queensland go, but Queensland stays the same. Then down the central section, we have the Northern Territory and South Australia, and they're a half hour behind the eastern states.
Half an hour. Wow. Okay. Interesting.
And then you've got Western Australia at our end, which are 2 hours behind the eastern states in winter, which is what we are now, and 3 hours in summer.
Wow. As we
So
say in
you can see
Canada,
how we get a bit confused.
clear as mud.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, in Canada, we
Like
have
you
like
said.
what, 6, 7 time zones from coast to
Really?
coast, but Canada is much bigger in terms of, from one coast to the other coast. But wow, that's crazy. Amazing.
How long does it take to fly from one coast to the other?
I couldn't tell you, but I've flown multiple times. Whenever I fly to Asia, we go from Toronto to the west coast, especially going to Japan. We go through the northwest and Alaska. Going from Toronto to the west coast takes about 4 to 5 hours. But if you were to fly from Halifax, which is on the east coast, to Vancouver, I would assume it would take 6 to 7 hours.
Okay, yeah, because I mean it's 5 hours for us to go from Perth to anywhere on the eastern side.
Whoa. But you know,
So
on
again,
maps, Australia
it gives
looks
the
small.
perspective.
On
Yeah,
the
well,
map, Australia looks small. It's not,
well, it's the
wow.
perspective. It's the how big a state it
Yeah.
is, because all the population centres are primarily around the outside, around the coast.
Yeah.
Because in the middle, I mean, between Western Australia and South Australia and the Northern Territory, there's a massive, great desert called the Nullarbor, which, as you'll know from your language skills, means no trees. Null arbor.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Really
Wow.
creatively named, that one. But I mean, if you drive from one side to the other, it can take you 3 weeks.
That would be an amazing road trip. That's one of my items on my bucket list. Go there with a couple of friends, get like an RV and just travel from one side to other and
Go around the outside. It's
not
far more
inside.
interesting. Go around the outside and you get all the coastal villages and all the coastal territory. Because if you go through the middle, it literally is straight road, mile after mile after mile. And it is so soporific. A lot of people
Nothing.
just fall asleep. Because the only thing that you've got coming up, because it's desert, you've got the odd outcrop of rock. And the only
Wow.
thing that you've got to be of interest is the odd bit of wildlife running over. And it could be a camel, it could be a wild horse, or it could be a kangaroo.
So if you
Unlikely
drive,
to be a roo in the middle of the desert, to be fair.
so if you drive to the middle of Australia, you better make sure that you don't run out of gas. Otherwise, you might be in deep trouble.
Yes, basically, if you see anybody going out bush, they've got at least 2 large jerry cans, and those are the fuel. And then you've also got at least 4 or 5 of those in water.
Wow. Yes. 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 I can imagine. Wow, that's a completely different story. Wow, I'm fascinated by Australia. That's a one continent. I've lived in 10 countries, 4 continents, but Australia is the one that really, really. I mean, Australia and Antarctica are the 2 places that are really catching my attention like nothing. It's almost like a fantasy of mine. I need to go to these 2 amazing, mystical lands, so to speak, almost.
Well, as far as WA is concerned, we have a bio hotspot in the southwest, and there are particularly species of flowers that aren't found anywhere else.
Whoa,
And if you
incredible.
go to the north of WA, Ningaloo Reef is higher towards the surface of the ocean than the Barrier Reef, and is in a much better state.
Oh yeah, very yes, yes,
So
yes.
you've got all the beautiful colors, and you can do it. You can observe it from a snorkel perspective. You don't need to scuba.
Oh wow,
So
incredible.
that's on my list of going up there. I haven't been here that long, and that's definitely, let me at it.
How long have you been in
Yeah,
Australia so far?
and it'll be 8 years in November.
So, what's the most amazing, mesmerizing place you've seen in Australia so far?
Oh golly, Uluru was really profound.
Yes.
So if your audience know Ayers Rock, it's
Oh, yes.
Aboriginal name is Uluru.
Yes.
So that was really, yes,
Especially.
real. I have a thing for rocks. I have a thing for red
Oh,
rocks in
yes.
particular.
Yes.
It's, I've got photos that I took at the Grand Canyon and photos at Uluru, and I've also been to Sedona with part of my training.
Oh, wow.
And so I have a real thing for red rocks, and hey, we're on red sandstone here. So yeah.
Yeah. I can imagine the vista at night from Uluru. Absolutely mesmerizing, especially stargazing, seeing the Milky Way and all that. Absolutely wow. I can always imagine.
Mm-hmm. And the skies here are completely different from the Northern Hemisphere.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally.
So I'm looking at going, what's that one then? Don't recognize that. I'm learning.
I can't wait until I can witness the southern skies. Wow, amazing. All right. Incredible. Love learning about new places. So, first of all, I'd like to ask you some questions to get to know the real Wendy. So, first of all, tell us what makes you happy?
I love it, and I get a real buzz seeing other people blossoming.
Yes, absolutely. Now, what makes you smile?
Well, that does. I love to see the joy in children's faces. I love to see when other people smile, because there's that sense of connection. There's that sense of warmth, and yeah, my heart lights up.
Beautiful. What makes you come alive?
All of the above. I really have I have a passion for music as well. I'm both a singer and a flautist.
Ooh,
Play the flute.
wow. What
So
kind of songs do you sing?
oh, I'm in the choir at the moment, and we've got a performance coming up on the 2nd of October of two Glorias, actually, one by Poulenc and the other by Grutter,
Wow.
John Rutter. So those are both very different and fabulous music that you just lose yourself in.
I'm getting excited. So, Wendy, are you going to do a premiere and give us a glimpse of your singing skills live for us? Just a little bit? A cappella?
Oh,
please, pretty please.
Okay, let me see what would be. I won't do anything from the Glory because.
Okay.
Oh, golly, what could you come up with quickly? Come on, Wendy.
Or if you want, you can do it toward the end of the podcast.
Yes. Give me some time to
Sure,
consider
absolutely.
something to do.
I just don't want to put too much pressure on you.
Wasn't expecting that one.
That's what I love about this. All right. So now, what makes you sad and angry?
Okay, sad and angry are two separate emotions in my book. I feel sad when I see people not living up to their potential, when they're settling, because they are believing either their own internal conditioning or they've taken on the conditioning of the environment that they're in. That makes me sad. And I suppose angry that they're, I don't know whether that's angry, and that's probably sad as well. In terms of the way that we have the polarization of opinion, and that we're not, what I'm observing at the moment is that even more than there ever has been, that I have my position, you have yours, and if you stick to yours and you don't come to me, then I can't like you in any way, shape, or form. You're an alien with two heads, and we have nothing in common, so go away.
That is so true.
And that makes me very sad. Yes. And to a certain extent, yes, there is a hint of anger in there that there's not the ability to come on, let's live and let live. You may have two heads, but hey, you don't know what I've got. Because we all have our own little. Yes, exactly. You can't see the one that's under cover. We all have our own little quirks.
Sure.
And yeah, that's probably more sad than angry.
Yes.
I'm not often angry, I have to say.
That's good. Being able to, yeah, that's for sure. Now, what scares you?
Ooh. Scares me.
Snakes?
No, I'm all right with them as long as I don't need to come too close to them. I mean, spiders are the big thing, I know. Oh, now, in the UK, not a problem. I would quite happily go and pick one up and put it outside or whatever. Australia is a very different matter. We have the 10 most deadliest creatures in Australia.
Yes.
So now, if I happen to walk through a cobweb, my immediate reaction is, what was it? Where is it? Is it still on me? Will it bite me? So scared, no, but certainly very respectful. Snakes, I've been warned that if you're out bush and you hear a rustle, you stay still. You wait for them to go past, because they're attracted by vibration. And if there's no vibration around, they'll buzz off. So I confess I have yet to see a snake since I've been here. And whilst I've seen a fair few spiders, I've only seen one redback, which is a nasty one, and I haven't seen any white tips. And those are the two really nasty ones here in WA. But you learn to, with the redbacks, you learn to look under the rims of outside furniture, because that's where they hang out. So you don't just, if you haven't been outside on the patio for a while, you don't just stick your fingers under the rim of the table to move it. Because that would be, oh, yum, yum, yum. So you know to tap things out, or to wash things out. But yeah, if I can just share with you, I was coming back from choir practice a couple of weeks ago and happened to look out of the, yeah, it'll be the right side for you, the passenger side window. And there was a huntsman spider, almost the size of my hand, on the window.
Lovely. You have amazing
and
company
he hitched
there.
a ride all the way home, even down the
Come on
freeway.
over. Let's have a party.
Yeah.
The more the merrier. Wow.
Yes.
All right. So what would you say is your personal superpower?
My ability to create rapport with people.
Mm.
Over the years that I worked as a speechie, and also the years since stopping working as a speechie, I must have worked with well over 5,000 people. And I reckon there's only one person I have failed to achieve rapport with.
Mm.
And some of these characters had severe challenging behaviors. They had intellectual disabilities, they had autism, they had physical disabilities. But as I said, there was only, I suspect, one person that I would consider I didn't achieve rapport with.
That's a pretty good ratio. That's good.
So.
Yeah.
So.
Not too shabby. All right. All right. So tell us, let me ask you now some fun questions. You know, when we're kids in primary school and middle school, everybody asks us, teachers, parents, friends, so Wendy, what do you want to become when you grow up? What was your answer back then?
God, I don't remember. That's a long time ago, Payman. Really long time ago. I think I wanted to be a doctor. I always wanted to do something vaguely medical, but then realized that my understanding of maths, physics, and chemistry, which were the holy trinity of A levels that you had to do in the UK to do medicine, couldn't do it. So off I went to be a speechie instead.
I can relate to that. My parents wanted me to be a doctor, but for me, unfortunately, as soon as I see blood, I just faint. Even the sight of,
oh no, that's not a problem.
The sight of a shot, I faint. I can't take it. I say, go ahead, cut my arms, but I don't want a shot. You know, I can't stand it. I just faint. I just go crazy. So I think that wouldn't. I couldn't become a doctor because of that. So
you're not a blood donor then?
No, absolutely not. Not voluntarily, if you know what I mean.
Oh yes, I know exactly what you mean.
All right. So, and as a young kid in school, what would you say was your favorite subject?
Probably English. We did an awful lot of writing, and language is really important to me. Always has been. And
sure.
So yes, I mean, I have a penchant for communication.
Oh yes, that's important. And what would you say was your least favorite subject in school that you couldn't stand
maths.
it? Me too.
Maths.
Not a numbers guy.
I have it's that binary thinking again. I can do languages, I can do the thinking, I can do the words thing, put numbers in front of me and no, the foreign language. So I'm overcoming that.
Awesome. Now let's move forward. Let's take a look now at your journey so far. from the time you left school to now. How would you describe your path? Would you say once you left school, it was very linear, straight sailing, smooth forward, or was it turns and turns and turns and turns like a roller coaster?
Oh, Payman, have you ever spoken to anybody who had a direct route from there to here?
Oh, you'd be
No.
surprised. They are like
Really?
unicorns. Yes, unicorns. They're very rare.
Absolutely, they're very rare. Yes. Twists and turns, you take the scenic route because from my perspective, on the scenic route is where you learn.
It's more fun too.
Oh, yes. You meet some incredible people on the way. I left school and went straight to do speech therapy, and thought that was going to be my career path to retirement. That career path took me to two places in England, somewhere in Scotland, which was my first migration. And you may think, well, that's still part of the same country, but different language up there, Kin. I can't tell you that part is a completely different language. And then from there, I came over to Australia originally as a speechy, and then branched out and started work for myself in the communication front. So no, from a career perspective, no, it hasn't been. It's been primarily linear, but with a little twist at the end.
What took you to Australia?
Getting the job out here. There was the post I got here was for somebody, they put it this way, they couldn't recruit somebody from within Australia with my level of experience with adults with autism. Because I'd been specialist in intellectual disability and or autism for 20 years. And a lot of people have that experience with children, but not with the adults.
So when you get this opportunity to live your life, your family from the UK, especially, I'm sure the part that you would miss the most from the UK is the lovely weather. Going to Australia, did you feel? What was your reaction back then? Were you excited, or say, "Oh my God, what I'm going to get myself into"?
Well, I had to laugh. I mean, I left all my cold winter clothes behind, thinking I wouldn't need them. And when I got off the plane, there were, because this was the end of November, beginning of December, there were people handing out chocolates, wearing Santa gear. And over the tannoy, you got Bing singing "I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas." And I remember clearly looking up at the tannoy and going, in your dreams, it's never going to happen in Perth, because Perth, Christmas, is midsummer.
Yeah.
We're often getting temperatures in over 40. Forgive me, I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's
no. In Canada, we use Celsius. Canada is a civilized part of North America. It's down south that they use the other metrics. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. But some of your listeners will be used to Fahrenheit. I think it's well over 100. Put it that way.
Yeah.
So yes, it's hot. However, Perth itself has a legend of being sunny for 300 days of the year.
That's amazing.
And those 65 days tend to come in a block in winter. Now, that's not sunny wall-to-wall sunshine, but we do get the sun most days. In the winter, however, because Australian houses are designed to lose heat, it gets a bit chilly, and I really wished I'd kept some of my big, thick jumpers. So when I go back to the UK, I go with a half-empty suitcase because I go shopping for clothes.
I know. So when you left the tropical paradise of the UK, coming to Perth, did you have like some, when people move to Canada, it gets them a time, especially coming from, tropical countries, to adjust to extreme cold in Canada. Did you feel anything similar adjusting from the UK weather to Australian weather, where in the UK, if you're able to see the sun 3 days in a row, that's a miracle. Whereas in Perth, you have it like pretty much every day, and almost a point you're getting bored out of it.
Well, I have to say, I do actually appreciate the sun, the rain now. because the other thing is, you know how after rain there's that wonderful smell in the air.
Yes.
Now in Scotland we got the smell of pines, because the part I was in was quite forested. Here outside my house there's a lemon eucalypt. So after the rain has come, you get that smell of lemon in the air. It's gorgeous. So I really, really appreciate that. But yes, I mean, the adjusting to temperatures over 40 degrees, when I had come from the north of Scotland at the end of November, when if we see 5 degrees, we're doing well.
Same here.
And then you go up. I remember driving up onto the car park in one of the local shopping centres, and the car reading 43 degrees. And I said out loud, "That's hotter than blood temperature. I've never been that hot in my life."
You can fry your egg. You could cook on it.
Well, you can, quite literally. You can stick an egg on the bonnet of your car, and within seconds you've got it cooked.
Yeah.
So yes,
Wow.
it's taken some adjusting, but now, it's 13 degrees outside according to my little thing, and I would be out with 4 or 5 layers on.
Yes, I can see that. Wow. Fascinating. Fascinating. Now, let me see. Let's move forward, because we can talk for hours about that, but let's get to the meat and potato. So
Yes.
I'm sure you heard the saying, change your story, change your life. And by story, I mean what we keep on telling, the internal dialogue. So when you went there, you had to change your story to change your life, or bring your life to where you want it to be. How did you do that? Do you do it with friends, family, mentors, books? So tell us the process of how you change your story to change your life.
When I was 17, 18, I applied to go to university 3 years in a row and didn't get accepted for any one of them. And I was really starting to get quite frustrated, because I really felt called to be a speech therapist. And it must have been a download from the Almighty, because out of my very young mouth came the phrase, "He who perpetually lives under the surface will sooner or later drown."
That is so true.
Where did that come from? So that has been my mantra, if you will, all the way through life. And if you focus on the negative stuff, you can wallow in it, and that's what you'll feel. Totally. So having had now a very interesting life with twists and turns, yes, I can stay in the negative frame of what I've been through. Or I can go, okay, what is the lesson here? What can I learn from this?
Absolutely.
How can I use this experience, not just to further my own learning, but in terms of how I can support other people through what they're going through?
Bingo. That's exactly it. Because what most people do when something bad happened to them, they dwell and they start, whining and complaining. Why me? Why did I do this to deserve this? Nah, 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 nah. Instead, they should just ask the right question, because the power of question is absolutely phenomenal. Instead of asking, why me? Why did I do to deserve this? We need to step back and ask, what is a lesson here for me to learn? What is life, God, universe, whatever is trying to teach me here? And you took it one step forward by saying, how can I use that to help others? I love that. Absolutely phenomenal. Beautiful. Totally agree with that. Now, let's talk now about your business. Tell us, what are you doing? What do you do?
Well, I empower female leaders to overcome their fears to speak to their millions. Okay, that's the trite little bit. What I'm doing is working with people to overcome their fear of speaking. There's a phrase that I don't know where it came from, but a lot of people would rather be in the box than deliver the eulogy at a funeral. that's a little close to home at the moment because I gave the eulogy for my father last week. Yeah. However, I was privileged and really grateful. Excuse me. My turn for a quick lubrication.
Sure.
I was really fortunate in that even although I couldn't be there for my father's funeral in the UK, I was able to record the eulogy on video and it was played at his funeral.
Oh, wow.
I was really rather pleased about that because it meant that I could record it as many times as I needed to. And I was able to hold on to it all the way through. But towards the end, even although I did a couple of takes at the last bit, my nose was getting redder and redder and the catch was coming in my voice. So you could tell I was getting emotional. But there are lots of different ways of approaching nerves and things. So that's what I do. I work with people to overcome those nerves. A lot of it is the internal stuff. Mm-hmm. And not just about my nerves and my fears, but what message are you sharing? How congruent are you with that message? Does it really sit in your heart? Mm-hmm. Because if it doesn't, then there are micro movements, there are micro expressions that your audience will pick up on. The example I give frequently is one of my friends was doing a Facebook Live about an upcoming workshop she had. And I said to her afterwards, did you get any traction on that? Not a thing, she said. I went, okay. I'm curious, how invested were you in what you were saying? Did you really believe it fully? And she said, well, I was a bit nervous. It was the first time I'd done something like this. And maybe I wasn't. I said, go back and watch it. Because all the way through, there were tiny micro shakes of your head. And in effect, what you were saying to your audience was, don't trust me. I'm not up for this. Mm-hmm. No. And when she went back and went, oh, I said, yeah, that's why you really do need to get the internal stuff sorted before you get the external stuff.
Totally. Yes, you have to say it with conviction, full conviction first. Absolutely. Now, tell us more about the process that you use about empowering women in your program to speak. Tell us more. What's the structure? Is it like one-on-one? Is it group? Is it weekly calls? Tell us about the structure and how you exactly do that.
Okay. Well, it's a combination. There are different levels within the academy. The gold standard is the one-on-one work with me and access to the group coaching. And for me, I find that is such a powerful model because within the group coaching situation, you have the opportunity for hot seating and everybody gets a turn. And when you do a deep dive into somebody's presentation, everybody else in the room's going, right. And you're seeing your notes. You're also then honing the whole group's observation skills and critical skills. And then they can look at their own work, go back to it. We're all our own worst critic. However, you can then use more objective criticism to go, okay, I notice I'm doing this. Now, how can I get around that? What can I do differently? So that's how the group coaching works. And I find that really powerful. On top of that, then the individual stuff, we have calls every month or so, either on Zoom, depending on where in the world they are, because obviously for my Canadian clients, I'm not about to hop on a plane anytime soon, and neither are they coming to me. So we keep in Zoom land. But for local people, I will meet up with them every so often, physically in person. And I will walk them through what they're doing. And sometimes it genuinely is just a shift in the body. And certainly with my TedX clients, that's where we're at. When we've got to get them on that red circle, you haven't got much space to move around. So make the most of your whole body in what you're doing within that space. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. You mentioned TEDx. Tell us more about how involved you are with TEDx.
Okay. Well, I don't know if your listeners know, TED started life in MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
Yeah.
And it stands for Technology, Engineering and Design. So it was originally got together so that the boffins could share their ideas with people who weren't in their field, which then meant they had to learn how to describe what they were doing for other people without the jargon. Ooh, that was a stretch. So then it got to the stage of little micro versions of it. And that's where TedX was born. And the TedX are all individual franchises. So each TedX is run by a different committee. They're all not-for-profits. So nobody is paid to speak. Nobody is paid to coach. So each one is different. Now, I was approached by TEDx UWA, which is University of Western Australia, because they'd seen what I was doing and said, would you come and work with our students, please? So some of the UWA one is usually a combination of students and faculty. So last year we had one of the medical professors talking about her leukemia research. We had a geophysicist talking about blue hydrogen and green hydrogen and renewable stuff like that. Wow. And we also had a couple of students, one of them who has been doing memes, international meme writer, since he was 16 and he's now 21, and all sorts of stuff. And we usually have a couple of celebrities in there as well. So we had somebody who had been on MasterChef.
Nice.
So he was telling his story. So we have a bit of a mixture, but yes, that's how I got involved with them, that they actually, would you come and help us, please? So that's really helpful, really good.
So how does one get into talking at a TEDx event?
Right. First of all, you need to have an overview of what you're going to say. And the tagline is ideas worth sharing. So have you got something novel to say? Or is it a novel twist on an existing topic?
Sure.
When you've got your overview and you can bullet point it out so that it makes sense to somebody reading it, then you apply to the different ones around, because each version of TEDx will have their own flavor. As I said, ours tends to be more on the academic side, but there's one that's just been set up in Kings Park, which is actually a bit of trivia here. Kings Park Perth was built around Kings Park, and it's actually bigger than Central Park in New York. So Perth can access this beautiful area. Anyway, so they're doing one that's more on sustainability and environmental stuff. There are other places around that have different flavors. So if your topic is going to relate more to one place rather than another, you put in your expression of interest, get on the TEDx mailing list, and depending on what the theme for any particular conference is, they'll either go, yeah, no, that doesn't suit us. That's not a no, you're never coming, but that's not the one for this year. It's a strenuous process getting on the red circle.
Like I've done some, as I said, I'm an e-commerce guy. When I was living in Hong Kong and China, I've not only attended multiple conferences, even hosted, organized some. I was even asked to speak at some events. And I just did recently this year virtually, because we couldn't do, real life conferences because of COVID. And I was asked to speak at a couple of major conferences for e-commerce on the merits of building not just a business, but a business with a heart. So I had to talk for about 45 minutes on that. So I wonder if I can make a speech like around that topic, but just pivot it instead of being for e-commerce sellers to business in general, because that can be applied to any business. Sure, we all need to make money, but let's build a business where it's going to be impacting others, because that's going to be incredibly beneficial it's going to be not only just a win-win for everyone, but a no-brainer, because it benefits the end consumer, it benefits you as a business owner, your clients, everybody involved, your employees, but most importantly, you as a business owner. It's going to give you something invaluable, which is a purpose, a reason, a mission. Because if you're only building a business for the sake of making money, you're gonna, once whatever goal you set up, and once you reach that, you're gonna be left wondering, is it all there is to it? Always chasing the next thing. But if you have a mission, a cause that is bigger than you, that's not going to be an issue, because that's going to be your burning, desire, your fire, your why. So I've done speeches on that, I've written articles on that, and I'm sure I've done, when I did those presentations, they were for an hour. I'm pretty sure I can condense them. For how long are the TEDx speeches? Like 30 minutes, I guess.
Oh no, 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 no. Even the ones at head office are only 18 minutes.
Oh, okay. So wow.
If you have the TEDx ones, they're usually less than that. The time is elastic depending on how many speakers and how long the day is. So, I mean, the one year we had 11 speakers. So they were, I think, and that was a whole day. And we had them at 11 minutes. They had 11 minutes. Last year we had 14 minutes. They were up to 14 minutes because we were on a restricted number due to COVID. But yeah, so one of the things that I work with people to do is to have 3-minute building blocks. So if you can create your beginning, middle, and end of a point in a 3-minute block, then you can see, well, what's going to fit this time schedule I've got? How are we going to segue between one and the other? We can get the flow, we can get the transition. But if you come at it with, from that perspective, I can introduce, develop, and conclude on one single point in 3 minutes and deliver it in a way that really makes sense to your audience. Then from there, you can put in your building blocks as to how long you've got. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So you coach people on how to best prepare to make a smashing, speech at a TEDx event. Awesome. So when my turn comes, I'll definitely get in touch with you. Definitely.
Brilliant.
I wonder if there is a TEDx in Toronto. I'm sure there must be. I'll have to
Oh,
look
there'll
it
be
up.
more than one. There'll be
I'll have
more
to
than
look it up.
one.
Okay, I'll have to look it up. Okay, sounds good. Wow, that's what I love about this. You connect with incredible people. You learn about new amazing things. It's all about expanding not only your knowledge, but wow, absolutely love that. Thank you for that.
You're
Just
welcome.
learning beautiful things. Awesome. Now, wow, that's incredible. So tell us, in your business, who's your ideal client? I know it's females, but do you have a specific client avatar that you're trying to reach, trying to help?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, it's interesting that whilst my avatar is female, I'm also working with a couple of fellas.
Okay.
Because it was actually the wife that my message spoke to, and they went, "That's for you. Go on, go work with her."
Awesome.
So yes, I mean, my aim is to work with my ideal client is to work with legacy-based people, legacy-focused people. These are folks that think, like you just said, I have a heart for what I've got to say. Very often they're inspirational speakers, but it's then, okay, this is great. This is a lot of wonderful rah-rah, but not necessarily build up, build up, build up. But what are you going to do with it? Because it has to have an end point.
Sure.
Now, some people are advertising a program. Some people have a book to do. Some people just have this is the research I'm working on. And as far as the TEDx stuff is, this is something that you ought to be aware of. With TEDx, you're not allowed to be selling anything. That's the other thing to bear in mind. So it's looking at people who are legacy-based, or rather legacy-focused. They've usually got some idea of a higher power that they're invoking, that they're relating to. So a faith-based person who is legacy-focused, who is feeling as though their time's running out. They're aware of that pressure. I've got a message to share and I need to let it out to the world now. They're feeling that urgency. Now, that's why a lot of my ladies are slightly older, and they feel that their wisdom, it's time for their wisdom to be shared with the world, because they've had some life experience. And it's a case of, well, okay, as I said to you earlier, what can you use? How can you use this life experience to support other people? So some of them are book writers, and then it's a case of, well, unless you can support your writing, unless you can get up and do your presentation around your book remains a very expensive calling card.
Sure.
So let's have you able to go, tell me about your book, tell me about your program, tell me about whatever it is.
So you mentioned something that, just coming back to the TEDx events, you said you cannot sell anything, but so can you talk about what you're working on in an upcoming event? Like, for example, for me, I'm going to be launching a product on a crowdfunding platform called Kickstarter, shooting for, say, around February, March for the launch. And for it's going to be a vegan leather item. And for every 3 units we sell, we're going to be sponsoring a year of education for a child in India. So basically, we're taking kids from the streets and putting them in a school so they can actually have a shot at normal life. And our goal for the campaign is not to raise 100, 200, whatever amounts of dollars. Our goal is to raise enough money so that we can sponsor 1,000 kids. And if we are able to reach that 1,000 kids, then by default, it's going to be $1 million campaign, because once you build your business around impact and not on revenue, then the money is going to take care of itself. So would I be able to talk about if I let's say if the campaign is live, say in February, and if I go, for example, say December or January at the TEDx, am I able to mention that hey, I'm working on that, this is what's coming up, and this is the purpose, but I'm not going to be selling?
Couple of
because
things.
At that time they will not be able to go on a website and order, because it's not available. They're not able to buy it. They're only going to be able to buy it when the campaign is officially live.
Okay, couple of things. One, if you're intending to get on a TEDx stage before Christmas, no. There's at least an 18-week run-in.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so set your mind in terms of future pacing here. In terms of what you were saying about even charitable stuff, we had somebody last year, excuse me, I'm going to need to take another drink.
Just one thing, my business is not a charity, it's a business with a heart. It's going to be a business. We're going to be making money, but the money we make, a big portion of that is going to be, a fair amount of that is going to be used to have an impact. So it's not a charity. It's going to be a business, a for-profit business with a heart, with a mission.
Yes. Yeah, I get that. My point that I was coming on to say was that even something, if it was with a charitable basis, we had a lady on last year who was talking about using an app for giving, so that, for instance, if you're prompted, you see somebody who's begging on the street, rather than giving them some money, which was likely to then they'll go off and shoot up or whatever, making the commitment to give some money to a charity that would be working with that sort of person. But she wasn't allowed to do that. That was definitely a no. So what she was then able to do was look at the theory behind it. So she came at it from the demographic of, a lot of us want to give, but how can we then make it easier to give in a way that is going to be more productive to a particular niche, if you will. So that you could come at it from a position of the theory behind the business with a heart. That would absolutely be acceptable. But once you start talking about specifics, then TEDx start to get a little, and they'll pull bits out of your speech right, left, and centre for that purpose.
Okay, I see.
Okay, so have that in mind. Talk about it from a theoretical perspective. Talk about it from the heart that you've got for this in the first place, and your why. Absolutely talk about your why. And you can talk about a theoretical how. But you may well find, if you've got it laid out in that respect, it will not be acceptable.
Okay, got it.
But that's
Thank you.
helpful.
Absolutely. I'm glad I'm recording this so I can rewatch it later and just take notes. Absolutely. Awesome. All right. So tell us, Wendy, an example of the most remarkable transformation that you've seen from one of your clients so far.
Ooh. Well, we had one of the TEDx girls actually, 3 weeks out, because they're students, the team of students, they are inevitably focused on their studies. They come first. So us outside coaches are going, can we get this organized, please? We need to actually start working with your speakers. So 3 weeks before the presentation, one of the girls gets up and reads off her phone on the first run through. And I'm going, excuse me, darling, you've got 3 weeks and you're going to be on that circle and your presentation is going to be recorded for posterity. It will be up on YouTube for the world and his wife to see. You got to know what you're doing. She took on board. She not just learnt what she'd written, but she delivered it with heart, with purpose. She took on board the staging that we worked on. And even within that 2-meter diameter red circle, she used every little centimeter of it to good effect. And the transformation was phenomenal. It really was. And I sat there going, oh, so proud of you. So proud with her, not of her, with her, because she realized what an amazing transformation she'd had. She worked jolly hard in those 3 weeks and we did a fabulous job with her.
That's amazing. And how do you feel when you see that kind of transformation of someone that's kind of timid, shy, not sure what they're doing, and then as they progress, they morph into an absolute piece of art? How does that make you feel when you see the end product? Or I mean, going through the transformation.
Well, that's one of the reasons that whenever I start working with somebody, I say, right, record yourself, give yourself a video, 5 minutes max. Have that now. Oh, but I'm off. No, that's your benchmark.
The before and after, yes.
Yes, and then down the road, maybe 2 months in, we'll do another vid. For those who are on the 12-month program, 2 months in, we'll do another vid. And actually, in between times when we're covering a particular topic, a particular thing to look for, I get them to do another recording showing how they are implementing that particular point. And the point is that you can see your own objective progress. And there's nothing like video for giving you that objectivity.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You mentioned something about the program. Tell us about the length of your program. You mentioned 12 months. So when someone joins, how long is it going to take them to go from point A to point B?
Well, that depends on where point A is. The 12-month program is from standing stop to TEDx ready. Okay. And in that time, my aim is to have people on stages for money, get them actually going from that. I know I've got to do this too. Of course, I'll do that for you. How much are you going to pay me? So we work around that and getting them. I mean, one of the guys that started last week with me, my aim is for him to be on stage by Christmas at, sort of Christmas parties where the big corporations have everybody around having a big Christmas meal or whatever. Now, my thoughts are, if he can hold an audience who are lubricated and more interested in eating their supper than they are about what's going on stage, that will be such a baptism of fire for him. He's going to get, whoa, I can do this. And he'll be in front of lots of people before any time's passed. So the 12-month is for those who are on a standing stop and they're standing start rather, and they're wanting to do, that's their aim. They want to be at TEDx ready. I have a 6-month program for those who are already reasonably experienced speakers, and we'll work a bit more to really polish it off. I've got a 12-week program, and that's for those who are very polished speakers, but we want to get you onto a TEDx. So that's just the fine tuning.
Okay. Good to know. Very interesting. Okay. And you have information about those programs on your website, I guess?
Um, well, that's a little interesting. My website is under construction.
All right. So where would we go
We're
to
still
get
a
some
work in progress,
information?
let's just say.
Okay. Okay.
But yes, I mean, in terms of how to get hold of me, the Facebook page, Courageous Influential Speakers, is the
Uh-huh.
open Facebook group. The Academy is a closed group for my clients. What I do though is on a fairly regular basis, I open up 2-week behind the scenes passes for free
Yes,
so that you
I
can
know.
come in, you can be part of live coaching calls, you can see how the Academy runs. For
I just
try
want to
before
say,
you buy, basically.
I want to say that you've been gracious enough to grant me one of those 2 week pass. However, I'm so sad. I've been so busy. I haven't even been able to log even once. I feel bad, even guilty and ashamed. But how many more days I have left? 3, 4 days. I'll definitely try to log in
Yep, you've got
before
it over the weekend.
before. Okay, definitely. I'll do that this
The
weekend.
point is, payment, I will be opening it up again towards Christmas. Now,
Okay.
I don't know whether that's going to be any better or any worse, because on the run up to Christmas, people are going, haven't done this, haven't done that, haven't done. So that may not be any better. However, the opportunity will be there. In fact, I might consider doing it between Christmas and New Year.
Ooh, I don't know. People might be in a festive mode and just, I don't
Yes.
know. Maybe
As far as
after
Australia is concerned,
Christmas. Okay.
that's summer holidays.
Okay. Well, here
And
too, but yeah, but most people are
January
just.
is basically everybody's
Mhm.
on holiday here.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
So yeah, I'll see. But it may well be, because there will be certain times of the year where there'll be a 2-week free pass, and
Mm.
it's entirely up to you how much effort, how much time you feel you can put to that. But
Hmm.
my point is that make the use of that 2 weeks. You've got the opportunity to see how we roll, and then
Hmm.
after 2 weeks, I just sort of say, okay, bye bye. We jump on a call first. If you want to carry on with the Academy, you come on one of the programs and you carry on in that group, and we make the most of your speaking skills.
Awesome. Now let's move forward. The theme of this podcast is building impactful businesses. Like I said earlier, for me, I'm launching a product on crowdfunding. For every 3 or 5 units I sell, we'll be donating. So we'll be sponsoring the education of a kid for 1 year. Now, for you, Wendy, what would you say is a cause that you're deeply passionate about?
Oh, now I'm deeply passionate about my Aboriginal brothers and sisters being
Mm,
able to have a far better interface with the Wodulars, the white man, because there are very different views of life.
mm-hmm,
And I mean, from one perspective, our Aboriginal friends have a big picture view of life. They are part of the earth. They are part of the whole concept. There is no separation. The Western view of things is we are all individuals who just
mm-hmm,
happen to come together, and we use things for our benefit. So right from the start, there is an ideological chasm in the middle. And I've been working with some Aboriginal people to look at how we can phrase what they're saying in a way that makes sense to the Wodulars, and for the white folks to say, right, how are we going to get what you're saying to make sense to our Aboriginal brothers and sisters? So that's been some
mm-hmm.
really fabulous work that we've been doing on that, and that's my big give back.
Amazing. Love that. Love that. Okay. Now, we all come in this world, in this planet, in this lifetime for a reason, for a purpose, a mission. What would you say is your purpose, your mission in this lifetime?
Oh, that's an easy one.
Mm,
My purpose is to show people that they matter, that
mm,
they are valuable in and of themselves, not what they do, in and of themselves, and to encourage people to connect with who they really are in their hearts. And once they can
mm,
do that, then what they share with the outside world is authentic. It's who they really are, and that's where the value comes.
Absolutely. Now, to wrap it off, let me ask you some fun questions now. Um, Imagine that you add a time machine, and today you were able to sit with the 18-year-old Wendy. What would be the number one piece of advice you would give to your 18-year-old self, knowing all that you know now?
8 or 18?
18, 18. Sorry, 18, yeah.
18, right.
Of course, yeah.
Don't expect life to work just the way you plan it.
Mm-hmm.
Have that flexibility, learn to dance with life, and it's all right. Just because it doesn't go your way, you don't have your fluffy bums all in a row, your ducks. It's all right. You can handle
Yes,
it.
absolutely. Yes, that's so well said. Now, do you have your own podcast?
No, I don't.
Why not?
I'm too busy getting everybody else out in the spotlight.
Mm-hmm. Now, imagine that you add your podcast and it's very popular, and today you have the most special, precious guest in the world, which is guess who? Yourself.
Oh, you, of course.
Oh, thank you. No, thank you. So it's yourself. You're interviewing yourself. So what would be what would be the first question you want to ask yourself? But don't think too much. What is the first question that comes to your mind?
Oh gosh. It's a very good question.
Don't think too much. What is the first question that comes to mind?
What lights you up?
Ooh, and what's your answer?
As I said right to you at the start, seeing other people blossoming. That's the thing that really excites me. I wake up in the morning and go, I wonder who's going to light up today.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Wow. Now, one question I love asking, and that is, what is the smallest thing you've done that has had the biggest impact on your life? Like, I'll give you an example from my own personal life. The smallest thing that I've done has had the biggest impact so far has been starting this podcast, because it's allowed me to connect with incredible people that I would have never been able to do so without this. Even allowed me to get to my current potential business partner, and so on and so forth. So for you, what was the one thing that you've done that has had the biggest positive impact so far on your life and business?
Probably to have the courage to do this, to do business. Because having always been an employee, I worked for the National Health Service for 28 years and then came over here and worked again for another employer. The courage to go on, I can do this. I'm a business person now. Oh, wow. Yes, it's opened up a whole new vista on life.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, just coming back on the incredible power of podcasting. For someone like you, Wendy, I strongly believe that this would be a no-brainer, because this would allow you not only to establish yourself as an authority, as an expert, as the go-to person, but it would also allow you to connect with incredible human being. I will share with you after this call the example of a gentleman in the US who built an 8-figure business with zero ad spent, using only the power of podcasting. So absolutely phenomenal. So honestly, for you, someone like you, having a podcast, and it is not that hard. As long as you have a computer, you have a camera. You might need to get one of those, $50, $100 on Amazon or wherever local you can get. You're good to go. And then just do videos and talk to them. Talk with people you've worked already. Ask them. Don't chase them asking them for a testimonial. Tell them, hey guys, I'm just starting a new podcast. I would love to have you share your story. And people love talking about themselves. Do that.
True.
Get them to do that, and then I will show you how this guy has been doing it after this call, because I really
Sure.
want you to really see the power of that. But that's absolutely, for someone like you, Wendy, seriously, that's absolutely no brainer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very welcome. So now, do you have any last minute, last words of wisdom or parting tips for anyone watching this?
I would say very strongly, dig in. Who are you?
Mm-hmm.
Look within for your message, because the stuff that you have been through in life is the stuff that you can talk to, the stuff that you can talk about. I talk about your becoming your message.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I have had a lot of grief in my life, and I've turned my grief into gratitude. Sounds cliched, but it's that sort of thing. What have you experienced in your life that you can then help other people with? And if you can then spread that word, spread that message, yes, you may have a topic that a lot of people are talking about. I think grief and burnout are very hot topics at the moment,
Hmm.
but nobody will have had your experience.
Exactly.
And your ideal client needs to hear it from you, nobody else.
Absolutely.
So don't think that just because it's a common situation, a common topic, that your message doesn't matter. It does. Look inside yourself and then go, okay, how can I get that message out to the people that need to hear it?
Absolutely. And I love what you said about your message resonating with your ideal customer, because yes, the message is very common, but it may not relate to everyone. You want it to relate to the person that you're trying to talk to, which is your ideal client. If you've identified your ideal client very clearly, and when he or she hears your message, they'll say, wow, that's speaking directly to me. That's going to be so much. It's not going to be just another marketing, whatever message. It's going to be a magnetic, powerful message that's going to go direct into from your heart to their heart. And when it happens, magic happens.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that we do in the academy, is to look exactly who your ideal client is
Mm-hmm.
and what are the words that they are using to
Exactly.
describe where they're at the moment, their pain point, to where they want to be. And it's those words that they are using. It may not be your ideal language, but it's
Mm-hmm.
what they are using. And there are all sorts of tricks and tips to find that out. Because if you start using somebody else's words back to them, you're in their head.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly they go, oh, shut up and let me give you the money. And I want to work with you.
Exactly. Wow. Now, for people who want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do so?
Okay, I have a LinkedIn presence.
Okay.
Not that well served at the moment. It is on my list of things to do to be a little bit more proactive there. Definitely on Facebook. You can either catch me at ComCoach, CommCoach, or you can link in with the Courageous Influential Speakers group.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that we can pop these in the show notes for payment
That's why
afterwards.
I'm saying absolutely
Yeah.
yes.
Or you can catch me on email, which is comcoach, COMMCOACH at corner.net.au. I have a calendar link which we can pop in. And you can jump on and just have a chat and see where we go. But I would love, and when the website finally is given birth to, there'll be a big celebration, a big announcement.
Awesome. Looking forward to that. Listen, Wendy, we can talk for hours. You're a true enlightened soul. You're a true leader with a heart. I salute you. Love your mission. Love your passion. Keep shining your light. You're a beacon of hope. You're literally giving a voice to the people that have a beautiful message to share. That's what you're doing. Keep doing
Mhm.
that. Stay safe. Stay awesome. God bless. We'll definitely keep in touch. We will probably do a part two in a few months to see how things have evolved for you and for me, and just catch up and on the call live. But we'll definitely be on in touch and on a weekly basis on the serving circle. So I'm very happy for that. So I salute you. Have a wonderful, for you is morning, here is evening. So have a wonderful day. Thank you very much, my friends. Have a good one.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye bye.
Okay.